Welcome, YouTubers. We're getting this thing kicked off. You may see that we have Mr. Brooks Taylor from Martinsville joining us tonight. He'll be on. And let's see. Actually, he's already on. He's just patiently waiting for us to get started here. I'm going to tweet this out. Sherwin, you keep our guests entertained for just a moment.
That's right. I need to click on this and make sure that I see who all's coming in. I did tweet out to our regular crowd. We got Robert Schlomer? I don't know. NASCAR Banter checking in. All right, NASCAR Banter. That's awesome. Those guys have been really cool lately. They've been paying attention to what we're doing. I've been trying to pay attention to what they're doing. Sweet. So we start off on the old YouTube there, Brooks, and just kind of let people file in for a few minutes. We typically probably have between 10 and 15 people that will watch this like it's a TV show, which is fun. It's also the pressure we put on ourselves to not edit, which means we got to get this right the first time, which we don't always do, but we definitely don't edit. We've got a pretty good little marker with YouTube, so we try to stay away from language that might be offensive to some, although I'm the worst offender of that. I'm more like the Top Gun thing where they had to invent PG-13 because Top Gun kind of pushed the limits.
Right.
Try to stay AM radio safe. I've learned most of what I know about what you can get away with by listening to local Atlanta AM radio. But yeah, this is a relaxed environment. We've got a play sheet. We're going to speak to it, but we're going to whack anything if something cool comes up. And like Rusty said, if you want to talk for like 15 minutes on a particular subject, I think we're going to get deep in the weeds on hot dogs, by the way. At least I plan to.
I can talk about hot dogs.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, man.
And Rusty and I have both already listened to your spot on lap traffic. So we know what you talked about over there, and we're going to try not to overlap too much with that because we're big Brandon Crowd fans and lap traffic fans, and we want to give everybody that listens to both shows a little bit different experience, which we do anyway. So without further ado, looks like we've got 6 or 8 people that are banging away on the old
file in a few more.
Chat line there.
I think I'm ready to roll with this thing. Brandon, jeez, I keep.
My bad. I poked that name right in your ear.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, Brooks.
Brooks.
It's close. It's just close enough that you know, one little cue. That's that thing about editing. Like, how many times you hear yourself say something?
Right.
You're like, that wasn't the right word.
You know what I say, and it's immediately as I'm saying it. You know, I said Brandon. I'm like, that's not our guest. Dumbass. So, Brooks, are you ready to roll?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, Brooks. We're going to disappear for, like Rusty said, 45 seconds to a minute.
All right. Here we go. We are recording now. Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 187. It's Tuesday, March 19, 2019. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm in the PTM Podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
I think our guest this week might be setting a personal record for number of podcasts attended
in a
single day.
Yeah.
Especially hosted by crazy-ass fans like us.
No doubt about it. Before we do get to that, y'all know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. Go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month and get that free koozie. The best part is, every cent in 2019, we're donating to sponsored drivers. So join the PTM posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and a per month level. Those are Laura Henshaw, Aaron Bearden, Robert Keplinger, Coleman McClam, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brendan Crowley, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Billy Workman, Rika Porter, Jumpy Bob, and Les Miller, Tommy Witt, Julie Bosley, John Pearson, Eddie Greer III, Yunker Motorsports, Jason Rudd, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Gail Delaney, and Crystal Smoke.
Oh,
Got it.
I think
just
I
barely.
I probably could have kept chugging.
Sure.
But I was trying to stay with you on that.
Sherwin was trying to drink for the entirety of it. I appreciate that. Actually, that's a good addition.
I was close. I need to just pace myself. A little bit less volume intake, a little bit longer run time.
If I take a breath, does that mean you have to finish and then start another one? Is that going to be the rule?
No. Next time, so that's going to be the new rule. We're trying to have a Guinness every time because that's the easiest beer to chug there is on the planet because there's no carbonation.
True. Oh, man. So, y'all, we want to go ahead and get our guest on the line. Well, he's on the line. We want to get him on the show here. He comes from us from the infamous Paperclip in Martinsville. You may have heard of him this week already on the Lap Traffic podcast. He's doing the rounds. Welcome to the show, the Director of Public Relations for Martinsville Speedway. He's a U.S. Army veteran. He's on Twitter at Brooks_Taylor. It's Brooks Taylor. What's up, Brooks?
Not much. It's been a long but great day, and we're just getting this week kicked off. So thanks for having me on, guys, and looking forward to talking with you guys about racing and life, and most importantly, Martinsville.
My man, absolutely.
We're looking forward to it too. That's Martinsville is such a special place that it's so much fun to talk about.
Yeah, it is. Special place that we've been to and done stuff.
Can you believe it's been 7 years? I'm about to lose my mind over this.
That's about 6 too many.
Yeah,
since we've been to Martinsville.
Yeah,
and that's a bummer. We're gonna have to, and maybe we need to make another stop just in Moxville, just to pace the trip or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that might work. Well, we do start off the show the same way every time, and we gave him the warning ahead of time. Brooks, what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight I am drinking water. It's been a long day. I feel like I need a Monster. But I'm just, it's late. I'm drinking water, and then I'm going to bed. I've got an early day in the morning. Clay Campbell and I are going to hit some TV stations down in the Greensboro High Point market. So we're getting an early start. So just taking it easy and getting ready for the rest of the week.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brooks has to be up at 5 a.m. If y'all don't know what time it is right now, that is in 6 hours and 42 minutes from now, and I hate to remind him of that. But if two yahoos called me up and said, hey, do you want to be on this thing 6 hours before you need to be up tomorrow? I'd tell them to go jump in the lake. So we very much appreciate you taking the call and being on with us.
I've told my employer to go jump in the lake about being up that early.
I love it. So, Sherwin, what do we have on the bar tonight?
Oh, we got some cool stuff. We got some Bushmills left over from last week that we looks like we did some pretty decent damage at the old
St. Patty's Day party.
St. Patty's Day party at the Clark's house.
Yep.
You got some local beer, Serpent Bite dry hop sour ale. That's going to be interesting.
It's fun.
We both have a Guinness. I'm almost done with mine, just like you. Now that I chugged, I've got a Sweetwater 420.
Nice work. The bar
we've
continues.
Got something we're not allowed to talk about. We do have a little bit of the Atlanta Braves Jim Beam,
as it turns out. So, with that, Brooks, we know that you said this week so far has been crazy. What is this week like for you in terms of just running around? Sounds like you got the TV tour tomorrow. You got the podcast tour today. What's a week in the life of prior to the race week?
Well, let's see. Yesterday, so hold on, let me back up because this starts pretty much as soon as the checkered flag falls on the last race. But so I've got a checklist that's a spreadsheet that's a gazillion things long. And by the time I get to this point, it's got like 3 things that aren't checked off.
Cool.
And most of those are things I have to wait for. But so if I've done my job correctly, this week is not easy, but it's not too stressful. It's just busy. So yesterday we had Grant Enfinger in town, and
cool.
We took him over to Patrick Henry Community College, where they've got a really, really, really top-notch motorsports program, the Racing College of Virginia. They field a late model team that races in our late model race. They work with lots of late model drivers. The guy who runs the program is sort of a legend. His father was Speedy Thomas, who's a modified legend, and then Talmadge, his son, heads up that program, and he's crew chief and built race cars for some of the greatest late model drivers of all time. And they've just got a top-notch facility. We took Grant in there, and he was looking around, and he was like, "It's incredible. This is the same CNC machine, same pull-down rigs, whatever that they've got up at Thorsport and Sandusky." So we spent the day with him over there. Then today we took Eric Jones to Greensboro. We took him to the Greensboro Children's Museum. We visited with a lot of the guests there, a lot of the kids that were there, and then we went to University of North Carolina, Greensboro, UNCG. Toward the campus, he got to see a lot of the athletic facilities, spent some time with the baseball coaches, and then we sort of did a media tour with him, got him over to WFMY and WXII. So that took the bulk of the day today, and then I did my podcast tour tonight. I did lap traffic, and then I did the pit stop with Tim Despain, and now I'm here with you guys. Then tomorrow, Clay and I are headed back to Greensboro to go to WGHP. We're going to take the Ford Edge ST Pace vehicle down there, and Clay's going to go on there and talk about the race weekend. And then Thursday, Myatt Snyder's coming to town. We're going to take him to one of the high schools. We work with Drive Smart Virginia, Who's Your Driver. They've got a lot of really good no drinking and driving, no texting and driving, no distracted driving campaigns. And so Myatt's going to go out to one of the high schools and talk with some of the students who are driving or who will soon be driving, and sort of talk to them about the importance of safe driving, wearing a seatbelt, and that sort of thing. And then we're going to go to one of the elementary schools. He's going to read to some of the students. So that'll take me right up to Friday. Friday kicks off with Truck Series practice in the afternoon, followed by an autograph session, followed by the hauler parade. Then Saturday we've got stuff on track all day. We got Fan Fest, and then Sunday we have the STT 500. Monday we come into work, try to put a bow on everything. Tuesday we start planning for the fall, and Wednesday I'm taking the kids, wife and I are taking the kids to Disney World. So it's going to be a hell of a next, I don't know, 10 day. I don't know what day is it today, Tuesday? It's going to be a hell of a next 10 or 12 or 15 days, whatever they are.
Well,
but
so
I do have 2 cases of Monster. 24 cans each. They give out free Monster at race weekend if you go to the Monster display and ask for one. So, you know, I don't drink coffee. I was in the Army for 6.5 years. I come from a long line of coffee drinkers. And my sister and I, neither one of us drink coffee. However, you guys were talking about Guinness, and we both did go toward the Guinness brewery when we were in Dublin a few years ago. So
that's sweet.
So I have been down that road, but don't do coffee. But I do. The one thing the Army got me addicted on was Monster, and that was back before Monster was cool, 15 years ago, and nobody had heard of it. And then I saw it in the stores when I got back, and I was like, "This is great." So I kept drinking it, and here we are, 2019, and race week, and living off Monster, and just maintaining, man.
yeah, well, so I wanted to give a quick shout to the folks that are actually paying attention to us live, because they all have a chance to maybe tune in, whether online or if they live in the area in Southern Virginia, Northern Carolina. Some of the footage that you guys filmed today with Eric Jones is actually going to be on the 11 o'clock news promoting the race. So if anybody wants to tune in there, just, you know, look for it on your TV guide.
That's pretty cool. You know, in all of that, I think one of the first things that that Brooks mentioned was the Patrick Henry Community College. I'm like, is there a better name for a Virginia college than the Patrick Henry?
Give me liberty.
I love that. So, yeah, that's cool. I had not.
Did we say thanks for his service yet? I mean, I hope we did already, but I'm going to say it again. Appreciate it, brother.
My man.
No problem. No problem.
So, yeah, and the fact that community college that I had not heard of and now think is an awesome name for one, A, and B, has all the same equipment that like Thor Sports has and stuff.
I was gonna say, if they got a hat, I will buy it tomorrow.
If they've got an online degree, I might start tomorrow.
Right?
Just for fun.
No kidding.
Just to learn about what's going on. That's that's super cool.
America.
So we talked about what you're doing. You know, the week leading up to the NASCAR race, and I think you said, and on Wednesday we start talking about the next race. What are you doing in between races? Obviously, there's a lot of on-track stuff that's happening still. What are some of those things, and what are you doing way ahead of time in preparation of the next race?
So we've got a small full-time staff, I think, including our outside, maintenance and facilities team. I think we've got 16 total full-time employees.
Okay.
So we obviously all work together, but really, the first thing you do is you sit down and you look at the last race and say, okay, what went really well? What can we, do better? What are some ideas for the fall? And then, we'll have sort of a brainstorming session, and we try to do that not long after the race, just to while things are still fresh in your mind, because the further you get away from the race, the more you start looking towards the next one, and you don't forget about the last one, but some of the little things may not, should we have done this at 10 o'clock as opposed to 9:30 or whatever. And so then we'll take all that and we'll sit down and refine our list and then figure out how we can promote the next race. Tickets for the fall will go on sale. Renewal period's already started. You can buy fall tickets this weekend. So we've already started selling tickets, and you got to have something you're selling a ticket to. So as things narrow down for me on the media relations and sort of team relations side, I'm always trying to give the media some sort of content heading in, even when we're far out, just some stuff, if I can get a driver to make an appearance and start to talk about Martinsville 4 months out, I'm happy to take it. Even little things, just letting people know that, we have this new attraction or new experience. So last fall we opened up the Sky Deck. This year, Sky Deck, we made it all ages. It was 18 and older, and now it's all ages. So a lot of things like that, and just really trying to stay relevant and stay somewhat in the news cycle when it's not really, while NASCAR's in season, it doesn't necessarily mean that Martinsville's in season. So staying relevant in that cycle, and then we've got our big late model race in October, and so the bulk of my summer weekends are spent South Boston Speedway, Langley Speedway, Dominion Raceway, Motor Mile, places like that where we get out and promote the late model race and promote Cup weekend and do a lot of that stuff. So fortunately, I've got a 4-year-old daughter who knows more, especially about late model racing, than she's forgotten more than most people will ever know. And she's always happy to tag along to the racetrack. And my 2-year-old, he's following her footsteps, and the wife puts up with it all. So we try to do that as a family. Sometimes it's just me. Sometimes it's just me and Emery, my daughter, and we have fun with it though. It's definitely different, but it's something I'm passionate about, and it's something I've been around for in some form, I guess, my entire life. So it's what's the saying? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's sort of where I feel like I'm at. So I love it.
My man, yeah, that's awesome. And that late model race, I mean, that's like the most prestigious late model race in the series is the Martinsville race. I mean, that's the one. So
yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Sherwin?
Yeah,
Might
without a
be
doubt. I mean, it's that race and then the Snowball Derby, and then behind that maybe the Watermelon Speedway race in Cordele.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three, at least in the Southeast, the big late model races that people want to go to and people pay attention to and people attend. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I actually, so I'm going to interject here really quick. I was talking to somebody today via Twitter. They were asking me, they said, well, I only live about an hour and a half from Martinsville, and, the truck ticket looks like it's a pretty high-value ticket. Should I go? And I said, the trucks race at Martinsville is like a late model race with National Touring Series talent. You should absolutely go. And he's like, all right, I'm going to do it.
If the question is ever, should I go to the truck race, you're not going to find me saying no.
Right. I mean, we're being repetitive.
That's the most emphatic yes of any of the races.
It is the most emphatic yes. And we're being repetitive, with you and your conversation with Brandon, because it's important that we be repetitive because it's reality. It's all outlets need to understand that if you have a chance to see a truck race, especially at a short track, you are seeing NASCAR at its finest.
Well,
that's as good as that product gets.
Here in Atlanta, when we talk to new people and they say, yeah, I've never done motorsport, I guess, maybe I need to go to a NASCAR race, down there in Hampton. And I go, don't go to the Cup race. If you
Not to start with.
Don't go to the Cup race.
It's 5 hours.
Yeah, you're going to be there a long time. You're going to be pissed off about the traffic going back and all that. And you won't get the nuances necessarily if you're not already a fan. But go to the truck race. You're going to watch a good race. So, looking forward to that. Let's talk about let's see. We'll change the subject a bit. You're from Richmond, right? Brooks, you work at Martinsville. There's 4 Virginia teams in March Madness. Now, I think I know who yours is, but go ahead and tell us, A, if you're excited that there's 4 Virginia teams, and B, who you're rooting for there.
So I'm going to split the love here between VCU and Virginia Tech. If you scroll through Twitter, you'll see, and this is women's basketball, not men's, but I've spent the bulk of the winter in Blacksburg for Virginia Tech women's basketball. My daughter, so her name's Emery Taylor. Virginia Tech's best player. She was all ACC tournament team. Her name is Taylor Emery.
That's amazing.
And what started as a simple, I emailed their SID PR guy with women's basketball and said, look, here's she wants to come see this girl with the same name as her play, and so it was like the first or second game of the season. So we're going to come down, and I wonder if there's an opportunity to take a picture. Well, it's turned into we now have season tickets, and they are legitimate great friends. Emery and Taylor are. So I was also the first person in my family not to go to Virginia Tech. So there's that. But I did work at VCU. I went to VCU for my master's. I didn't finish it. There's some love there for VCU. Not a lot of love for UVA, and not a lot of love for Old Dominion, because Old Dominion is VCU's rival and UVA is Virginia Tech's rival. So, VCU had their Final Four run back in 2011, and they've got a good team this year, but Virginia Tech, I think, is in a position to make a deep run if they get to Duke in the Sweet 16, and if they can beat Duke again. Now, Zion Williamson's back, so that'll he's a freak. LeBron might be the only guy in the world that can guard him. But it's always fun to watch, and I just don't understand why they scheduled the tournament on top of the STP 500 weekend. I'm going to have to make some calls to
I tell you what.
Right.
Shifted a few days.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, we'll give you a pass. We know Marty Smith loves the Hokies. Certainly that's a really cool story about your daughter and your family's relationship with Virginia Tech. We, as us lowly Georgia Tech folk who are struggling to find our basketball
when we
flotation device.
When we decided to stop making the tournament 13 years ago or whatever.
No, it's great, man. I that's really cool. I mean, basketball was always my first love as a sport, so I love hearing people's stories about basketball, and I knew it was similar for Rusty, so that's cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Georgia State's in it again this year, dude.
We do have a school down here that we can root for. That my mother got a graduate degree from Georgia State. My dad got a half a graduate degree from Georgia State.
My wife has a bachelor's.
A half a graduate degree. Was that down in Statesboro?
No, that's Georgia Southern. No, Georgia State's actually downtown Atlanta.
Yeah, downtown Atlanta. My wife has a bachelor's degree and a master's degree from Georgia State. The last time that they were in the tournament as a Cinderella team, I don't think it was the last time they were in the tournament, but it was probably 6 or 8 years ago when their coach, he was the one that was his leg was broken, and so he had that little scooter wheel thing.
Hunter.
Yeah. They won as I think they were like a 15 seed.
They were 15.
They won. He fell off of his thing celebrating celebrated on the floor. With his leg busted and everything, he wasn't in pain. He was just celebrating on the floor. He was the sweetheart of the whole tournament and all that. And the next game was being played down in, I think it was Jacksonville. They were playing round 2. And my wife jumped in a car with her friends, and they all ran down there to go watch the game. I thought it was super cool that
it's
they
very
all
cool. It sounds like something we would do for football.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or basketball if we were any good at it.
So I, myself, now have 2 teams. I'll root for VCU. So, we get that double Cinderella story.
Yeah, can't do Virginia Tech, unfortunately.
No. I can't do Virginia Tech. Sorry, brother. But
I can do that.
No worries.
Shaka's ex place.
Yeah. With that, Sherwin, let's talk a bit about NASCAR, a bit about what was going on this past week.
Is this a NASCAR podcast?
I think we asked that around the 20-minute mark every single week, right?
We did already talk about Martinsville a little bit.
We've been talking
in all fairness.
Yeah, let's be cool here. But we'll get through this stuff because I think this stuff, I don't know, maybe I've either read more this week or I feel like any point that I have to make is already been said by a million people.
Well, a lot of people lost their minds after California for one reason or another.
Right. Has NASCAR, here's what I wrote, and this is almost like a meta question. It's a question on top of the question.
Don't you be a Gen Y or whatever we are now.
So has NASCAR poked itself in the eye in that every race right now, we are hyper-focused on the package. Was it a good race? Was it because of the package? Was it package related? Was it in spite of the package that we either had a good race or a bad race? And there's people like NASCAR sort of, I don't know, I think put the spotlight on this whole thing. I am excited that we're going somewhere where I don't think package matters one bit, and we know we're going to get and we know we're going to get a good race either way. But Sherwin, has NASCAR poked itself in the eye on this one?
I think so. I'd like to hear Brooks's perspective because of how cool the racetrack he's at and how much it doesn't flip and matter. Mm-hmm. But I would say yes. I think they've poked themselves in the eye because they over-advertised what they were doing instead of just saying, "Yeah, we're going to change some stuff. Y'all see."
Yeah.
We'll see what happens after, and then we'll make adjustments.
Yep. Brooks, where you at on this?
Somewhere in the middle. I wish that the changes could be made without promoting them, and then let the cart fall as they may. Unfortunately, as soon as that happens, whether NASCAR promotes it or not, I think people are going to start talking within the garage. Word's going to get out to the media. The media, we live in an interesting time. Where I think it was Nate Ryan the other day had he had screenshots of like back-to-back tweets at him, and one person was saying that he's always negative Nancy and never has anything good to say to NASCAR. And the next person, this wasn't even a reply. This was 2 totally separate tweets. The next one was like, Nate Ryan's part of the NASCAR mafia who's out there, and everything NASCAR does is the right thing. Which it's incredibly ironic that people can read the same article and take it 2 ways. But I think we live in a time where social media has really changed the game. We live in an instant gratification world, and everybody has their opinion, whether they are knowledgeable enough to talk about it or not. I am not. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a crew chief. I'm not a mechanic, and I'm not a driver. So I can't tell you what these packages should do. I can tell you that I don't think anything. I don't think there's an overnight fix for anything, and I don't know what people want, because half the people you talk to say leave it alone. The other half, talk about it was so much better back in 1983. Well, I can get you the rundowns from even Martinsville races from 1983, where the leader and maybe second place were on a lead lap. Fourth place was 12 laps down. So, everybody's got a revisionist history.
Yeah.
So you talk about the 79 500, right? Where Allison and Yarborough wrecked, and then Bobby came over and they had the fight. Richard Petty, who won the race, was like, he was in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
They had to figure out who was in third place. It had that iconic moment, and it was a great race because you had two cars running up front. But last year I think at Auto Club the margin of victory was like 11 seconds. So they certainly shrunk that down. I don't know that they're, and you get are they trying to manufacture, moments? Well, I don't think that's the case. I think it's made restarts better. I think it's bunched the field up pretty good at the restarts. But personally, I think it's a decent enough balance between, all right, we've got restarts that stay bunched up a little bit longer than they have been, but eventually the cream is going to rise to the top and the best cars are going to make it to the front, which is what people, should want to see. I've seen races that have had, 11 cautions that were terrible races. I've seen races that had 2 cautions that were good races. I've seen races that had 2 cautions or 1 caution that were terrible, and races that have had 11 cautions that were great. So I don't think cautions necessarily make a good race. I don't think wrecks necessarily make a good race, but they don't hurt the product. So what? I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but
this is a place to ramble, man. This is fine.
I think the biggest thing is if you can just give it some time. Nothing's going to be an overnight fix, and I don't know. I wish I knew what people wanted. Sometimes, there's a whole sector of society that if you gave them $1 million, they're going to complain they got to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
So, we want close finishes. When they get close finishes, well, all they're doing is just manufacturing finishes. So you're kind of in a hard spot if you're NASCAR. It's also difficult now to keep anything under wraps. If they do go test the package somewhere, somebody's going to talk about it, even if it's closed to the media. People are going to, the media has relationships with teams and drivers, as they should if they do their job well, and they're going to pick up on things. They're going to get told things, and it's eventually going to get out. So it's really hard to keep things under wraps and let it play out. I wish they could. I wish that I wish that there was an opportunity to let it play out for a half a season and be like, oh, by the way, we took away downforce, we added downforce, we took away horsepower, we added horsepower, whatever, and that's why you saw what you saw. It's just a really tight spot for NASCAR to be in. And you get some drivers that love it, some drivers that hate it, and they're pretty vocal about it. And so then, if you're a driver, if you like driver A and he does not like this package, well, all of a sudden you're not going to like the package regardless of what you think of the overall product.
Yeah. So one of the things
so that's tough.
Yeah. One of the things that, well, not one of the things, two things real quick. because we got to get on to the next subject, but with this, what they've done with this package is they've made two things more important. The things that are most expensive to NASCAR teams. They've made pit road more expensive because track position has never mattered more. And they made bodybuilding and aero testing more expensive because of trying to find some half a point of downforce that gives you an advantage. So to me, they've failed off the top in creating more parity.
Does a lower horsepower, though, does that save money somewhere? Or I guess not over last year because you have to build all new engines. But
Clint Boyer blew a motor this week.
He blows a motor every week that he does. No, wait, we're talking about he actually blew a motor. Like,
yeah, no, Nani had a good time. He blew an actual physical automobile motor.
Well, a couple things. One, I would say, talking about Nate Ryan, if you're getting those kind of tweets out of both sides, I think that means you're doing it right. I think if you are both a shill for NASCAR and you're nothing but a negative Nancy for NASCAR, that should be feedback that, yep, I'm on the right side.
That looks like the right bell curve.
Yeah, the right bell curve, right? He got that one on either side. So there you go. I would say, so moving into second period, it's taken us half an hour to get here, but ratings are up No, it's all good. Ratings are up 4% for this race, and that's kind of trending across all the races. I think we've said before that, like, Vegas was the most anticipated that we've ever been, that anybody's ever been for Vegas. And then you go to Phoenix, super anticipated for Phoenix. And then at California, what's this package going to do in California? Let's see there. And I think now with Martinsville, you've got the same thing. All right, we don't have to worry about package anymore. Let's just freaking have a great race. It's going to be
drop the rag and let's race.
Yeah. So I don't know. NASCAR
I wish we were going to be there. Damn it! I'm going to teleport for
NASCAR
a half a day.
Well, intentional or not, in spite of themselves or whatever, they've created a lot of anticipation for these races, and I think that's drawing some more eyeballs. We'll see if those eyeballs stay, though, Sherman.
Well, what I really want is I want a production specialist in terms of like a marketing production specialist to be in the room with NASCAR when they're producing a show and helping them and coach them through what they need to be showing on television in order to excite the viewers the most. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the biggest things we're facing right now is what are we looking at? Like, are we looking at the sponsor that contributed the most amount of dollars to whatever the situation is? Or are we looking at what's the best racing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a lot of times I think it's the former.
So I wanted to bring this one up. Tony Stewart says this week that NASCAR has got to start getting drivers, not just NASCAR, but teams, have got to start getting drivers that have personality. He said it's great having opportunities to drive cars. He said, but shoot, they're not even old enough to go to a bar, and they're trying to make these 18-year-old kids heroes. Trying to make 18-year-old kids heroes. They ain't even old enough to go to a bar. I find it interesting, his comments, and I think what he's seeing now, and he always has. He's always raced, his outlaw races and dirt track stuff. Along with NASCAR.
He didn't even get to Indy till I think he was already 23. So he was already beyond the threshold.
He sees week in, week out these guys who are in their 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, 30s even, who I think he sees them as this guy can race. This guy is for real. Why isn't he getting an opportunity? And here's a guy who's 16, who's getting in the NASCAR Next program. What's his deal? How can he be better, quote unquote, or have a better, I don't know what you call it, like stock than this guy who's proven himself, lived twice as long as a 16-year-old.
Well, is there any? I mean, along your same lines, is there any? Do you need any more reason why that Tony hired Clint? I mean, Clint's going to turn 39 this year. Does anybody think Clint's not fun?
Right.
And very good race car driver. Also won at Martinsville last year. Boom.
Right. So, where you at on all that? We've been talking. Brooks, what's your story?
So, I think there's a lot of young drivers. I think one thing that if I all right, so you got sort of what I call the Jeff Gordon effect. Jeff Gordon was 21.
I know where he's going.
But he's a freak. I mean, he's one of the greatest drivers of all time, right? Well, everybody's trying to find the next Jeff Gordon. There's not necessarily going to be one, but everybody wants to get that guy that's coming up that's 18, 19 years old, and they want to put him in top equipment right away. The flip side of that is what I call the Jeff Burton effect. Jeff Burton came into the sport, drove for the Stavola brothers in the number 8 Robusto's car. Took a car that was, finishing 28th every week, started finishing 22nd every week. And Jack Roush said, man, this guy's good. Jeff Burton also raced at South Boston Speedway for 3 or 4 or 5 years in a late model. What that allowed him to do was build up a fan base at South Boston, whether they loved him or hated him. He was South Boston's guy, right? So then he would go to the Langley Speedway to race, the Hampton Heat or a big race at Langley. Well, he would go out there, and they might all hate him because he'd go out there and win, and he's beating all the Langley guys. Well, then when he goes, when he gets, then he gets into the Busch Series, builds a little bit of a fan base there. Well, then when he goes to Cup, he's already got this fan base. Everybody knows who he is. And the people at South Boston that hated him, it's sort of like your little brother. You can hate him, but when you step out of the house, he's your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So once Jeff Burton makes it to the next level, oh man, that's my guy. I knew I loved Jeff Burton. So he's going in with 20,000 fans right off the bat. These guys, so a lot of the drivers now they're racing Legends for a year at 12, then maybe some sort of Hornet, mini stock or whatever, or limited late model, and then they're racing a late model at 14, between 14 to 16 years old. By the time they figure it out, they're already moving on to, and they're 16, and they're in a truck for a year, and then they're in an Xfinity ride for a year, and then they're in Cup. And I think one of the downsides of that is they don't have time to build the fan base. You don't get to know them. You don't have your guy who's made it. So I go back to going out to South Boston and places like that. So Philip Morris, who won his 5th national championship last year, tied Larry Phillips for most all-time weekly racing series national championships. Philip Morris was there. He's got 5. Lee Pulliam was there. He's got 4. Peyton Sellers, who has 1 national championship, and he spent some time in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, and he probably had more national championships if he had not moved up the ladder before going back to late models. These guys are good race car drivers, really good. I was talking with Elliott Sadler about Philip Morris, and I said, Elliott, could Philip race? And he said, I said, could Philip race on Sundays? And he said, now? He's 55 years old. And he said, 10 years ago, absolutely. And then you look back, he had 1 Xfinity start at Rockingham and finished 2nd. So these guys are good, and for whatever reason, they didn't get the chance to make it, but they've got personality, and people know who they are. If you look back through time, Dale Sr. was in his late 20s. Dale Jr. was in his mid-20s. Harry Gant was 39 when he got his debut in the Cup Series, or was a Cup Series rookie. So these were guys who were older. They had time to figure out who they were. And if you think back to when you were 18 years old, you don't know who you are. As a person, you're still figuring out life and stuff. So going back to the Jeff Gordon effect, I think everybody's looking for the next Jeff Gordon, and I don't know. Their guy Eric Jones is a great guy, and he's a talented driver. Same thing about William Byron. You don't fluke your way into those rides that they have, and fluke your way into them at the age they had. I'm not saying they're not deserving, but there's also for every William Byron or Eric Jones, there's another guy who got rushed up and didn't pan out. So I think that it doesn't hurt to have guys who are a little bit older that are making their start and that sort of thing.
Sherwin?
I think it makes it a tough sell to a sponsor, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, what are you, and maybe that's the state that NASCAR is in right now, that the sponsors are demanding all this. Well, I could see that they need a young guy, or they need fresh blood, or they need someone to connect with the millennials, whatever that's worth.
Look what we saw happen with Daniel Suarez. I didn't mean to call him Danielle. Apologies to everyone. Daniel Suarez.
No, interestingly, in his
tough deal.
In his language, it would be pronounced, more like Danielle.
Danielle.
So there you go. You did it justice. Kurt Busch, 6th place this past week. He's got 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 6th in the last 4 races. What's he doing different, Sherwin?
He's being Kurt Busch is what he's
being
doing.
the best wheelman in the garage.
I know, and absolutely no belittlement at all to Chip Ganassy's equipment and Jamie McMurray. But there is a reason why Kurt Busch is called the best wheelman in the garage, despite the fact that we think Kyle, his younger brother, is the best racer in the garage currently because of how prolific his trips to victory lane are. Kurt is the one that's most respectful for being able to translate what the car is doing to improving performance.
Yeah.
And he's really, really matured. And he's our age.
You see that, dude? You see that he's not dropping Dr. Jerry Punch F-bombs anymore. Like, not even close,
You know what's funny about
found
that?
His zen or something.
That horrific moment he had with Dr. Jerry Punch after he thought he had ruined Tony Stewart's race, who Tony ended up winning a championship in that race at Homestead. Like, he was so upset about potentially having destroyed Tony's moment that he just lost his freaking mind on Jerry Punch. Now, granted, he needed to go through some psychology stuff.
It wasn't the first time he's lost his mind.
He needed a better woman in his life.
I was about
other
to say,
than the
nor
one that
his wife
is going to
girlfriend.
prison. Just so we're all aware, she got charged with 6 felonies. So
I think she Instagrammed like
the
4
pocket,
of those felonies.
What was her name? The Pocket Assassin.
Right. That's what she Instagrammed like 4 of those.
Yeah. So she's going to prison, and Kurt is in a new place in his life, and he has figured out how to manage adversity to the point that he's taking a car that, I don't know, maybe, what did they have? Maybe 15 top 10s last year? And he's like top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10.
Yeah, and
with
breaking
2 top
5s.
5s.
Yeah, just breaking it in. So I'm going to go on to recess at this point. Brooks.
He don't suck at Martinsville either, by the way.
Brooks, we want to talk about hot dogs for a minute. Do you have a Martinsville hot dog story? Like, did somebody, was there a hot dog eating contest, or did somebody like eat one too many or something like that? Or is there a good hot dog story from Martinsville that you have?
That are edible? Yeah, I've got one. This was a couple years ago. STP did a thing with a hot dog eating contest for the media. You guys know Mike Neff?
Mike who?
Mike Neff. He.
Yeah.
The guy does something and works down at Myrtle Beach Speedway. So Neff comes Sunday only. Sunday only. Puts away 33 hot dogs.
Damn. That's going hard in the paint.
Mike Neff ate 33 hot dogs in one day.
One day?
Saved every one of the wrappers. And it was half man, half machine, let me tell you.
RoboCop.
So that's, Mike Neff ate 33 hot dogs in a day.
I'm going to go after him on some Twitter.
He's
a cool dude, y'all, by the way.
There's no going after him, man. This is Mike Neff's moment.
I don't know how to even like comprehend that. You remember? So Quick Trip sponsored the race at Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
and it was in the media center.
We had the roller food.
Yeah, we had the roller food and hot dogs and all that. Like I had a taquito and I splurged and had a taquito and a hot dog for lunch one day, and that was half a taquito too much food. You know what I mean? I can't imagine just rolling up. What's up, y'all? 33 hot dogs later. I think I'm full.
That is a bunch of damn hot dogs. I think the most hot dogs I've ever eaten in one day is 4. An entire day.
I would. Oh man, I wish I knew. I've probably eaten because we do those little hot dog wiener things for our for
Hot dog wiener thing.
for the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
You know the ones in
what do you
the
call that?
we call them bourbon dogs.
Bourbon dogs.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
those are little.
Well, they're hot
an
dogs.
Entire hot dogs.
They're hot dogs cut into thirds. So how many divided by 3 have I eaten? Probably more than 4.
I haven't eaten 99 of them.
No. 99. There wasn't 99
with bread.
With bread. I know that. So that's the other side. We don't eat them with bread. Oh my goodness. So the last irreverent topic that I'll bring up right here, Sherwin. One thing that I'm known for, and I know, like among people that I know who see me wearing a hat, which like at work, I'll wear a different hat every day. I can wear a hat at work. And they say, how many hats do you have? I'm like, I can wear a different one every day for indefinitely.
I've got all the hats. What are you talking
indefinitely,
about?
because I'm always buying new hats. You know, like I'm there. It's rotating. So what I was going to say is, so you came in, you sort of, just adjusting the bill on your hat,
adjusted it and it broke,
and it kind of give you a crack. And
cracked.
you go, man, it cracked again. And you said it's probably about time for me to retire this hat. And I mean, I love that hat, by the way. That's back.
Okay, so I hadn't seen it. This is from the ranch days. Y'all hear me talk about the ranch days when I lived in Michigan? This is the hat.
Yeah, the double JJ staff hat. That's a killer hat. Now, I don't know that answer though. When is it appropriate to retire a hat? I own way too many hats.
Well,
I mean, like
still
I said,
fully functional.
I bet there's 75 to 100 hats in my closet right now, and there I can just go in and out of rotation easy. And it ain't nothing to buy a new hat, because you see a hat and you're like, I gotta have me that hat.
Well,
and I'm wearing my latest one, my Atlanta Motor Speedway
You bought
hat.
that one. I bought the blue one. That's
Yeah.
like has that billboard of 1960.
Right.
And I just bought what the hell? I just bought another new one.
I just bought another hat.
Oh, I got 2 new Braves hats.
Well, and the Rico Abreu hat that you got
the
like,
Rico Abreu hat with the mullet on it.
Yep.
But I got 2 new Braves hats. I got one that's got the old feather. It's like
oh nice
royal
yeah
blue,
oh
but
old
like
school.
has just the feather. So like
Nice.
you have to be a Braves fan to even know what that is.
Yeah, you know what's going on.
And then like one that's navy with an A on it. The Braves scripted A.
Brooks, are you a hat guy?
I used to be a lot more than I am now. So I've got a ton of hats. But I had so to answer the question as to when it's time to get a new hat is when the bill breaks.
Oh, okay.
Or starts to rip off.
Both ways on shorts right now.
I mean,
So
you're gonna have to take a look at this YouTube and see the way this hat looks.
So for me,
I'll put it up.
It's
nice
all
and
about
close.
I get to where I find a hat that I like,
Yep.
and it's the only hat I'll wear. It doesn't matter what
Same.
it says,
Yep.
and
Well, if
and I'll
it
wear
fits
it forever.
good.
And then when it's gone, I'll buy. I don't know. I'll go through 4, 5, 6, 7 hats, wear it once, and be like, nope. So I get the one that fits right. And then we start the process over again. So I had back in college, I went to Marshall University, go Herd. Then I bought a Marshall hat, and it was awesome. Lasted me 15 years probably.
Nice.
And then it finally went away, and they did away. Like, I mean, it was so old that they didn't make that hat anymore. And so I'd gone up for a game. My sister went to East Carolina, and they were playing each other, and they're pretty good rivals. And it's a good rivalry because the plane crash happened coming back from East Carolina. And
Yep.
There's a lot of just it's a fun, positive rivalry. And They were both in Conference USA. East Carolina was leaving, so it's the last time they were going to play regularly for a while. And so we went up to Huntington for the game, and I was like, I'm going to get a new hat. I'm going to replace this hat. And they don't make it anymore.
Ah, damn.
So I got what I thought was the same hat, or not the same, but, whatever the replacement is, it just wasn't the same. So I probably went through 4 Marshall hats. I finally have one that I like. I've got a gazillion Martinsville Speedway hats. One of them that I love, and I've got to wash it before race weekend because it's white.
And currently it's not white.
The grass and whatever else. And so it's more of a nice khaki color.
That'll happen.
White accent from the stain, from the sweat stains. But I love that hat.
If you have extra,
more than I do now.
If you have extra Martinsville hats just sitting around, you don't need no more. I can give you an address.
Yeah, I know where those. So just a little anecdotal, like an addition to that whole not Martinsville story, but the Marshall story. One of the old guys in the hunting camp I used to belong to was a football player on the Marshall team who was academically suspended and therefore
didn't get on the flight. Wow.
That crashed.
That's nuts.
He's a very interesting person to talk to.
So, talking hats, just real quick, I wanted to say this. My wife plays a lot of video games. She's into like the fantasy RPG stuff and whatnot. No, so she spins the first. I'm talking about it. And we have 2 TVs downstairs, y'all. This is called the Marriage Saver. We've never argued about TV in our lives. We hardly I can't remember last time we argued anyway.
I can attest to this.
But 2 TVs in the house, and there can't be like a 12-inch TV and a 55-inch. You got to get 2 TVs that are same size, and you each get your own TV. It's fantastic. And TVs aren't all that expensive anymore. Point is, I'll be watching something on my TV, whichever my TV is that day, and she'll be playing a video game. And I will see her for the first hour and a half of playing this new game that she gets, some Final Fantasy or some Dark Souls or whatever it is. And she's in there doing her character customization, putting on the shoes and making sure the nose is just right and making sure the skin tone is perfect and the lips and the ears and the hair and all that. And I always make fun of her. I'm like, when are you going to play this dadgum game, right? You've just been sitting here. This is a game that lasts 50 hours, and I know you've spent 2.5 on just your character, right? So, fast forward to this past fall. Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out. Cowboy game. Woo! I get that thing, and I sit there, and she turns to me and goes, you realize you've just spent the last 30 minutes trying to figure out which hat to wear. I said, I take it all back.
You better get that damn hat right now.
I take it all back. I know where you're coming from now. This needs to be perfect.
It's boots on the outside or the inside of the jeans.
Oh, and then, dude, and then later on, you can get this awesome-looking hat that's made out of a fox, and it's got the tail on the back.
No.
But it takes you like 3 hours of gameplay. Oh, I had that. I had that in the first 3 hours. So, for everyone I've ever made fun of, for character customization in RPGs and whatnot, I sincerely apologize. My cowboy, dude, he was rhinestoned out. He was the man.
Freaking Glenn, what's his name? Rhinestone cowboy.
Yes, sir. So, let's move on. Let's if we don't get to your questions this week, we've been just having some fun on the show here, and thinking.
One of them was really good.
Sticking with us.
We just want to get the one, or
which one? You tell me. Why don't you introduce it? Do it.
Sorry.
Which one you want to hear?
I want to ask Tony's question.
Okay.
So Tony asks, they've got to get drivers that have personality.
No, wait. We already talked about that.
Oh, sorry.
Nope. You're talking about either Mick or Andrew.
Oh, crap. My bad.
All right. Keep scrolling. While he's doing that, I'm going to do the new follower shout-out. We've got Chad at ChadRAM273, NASCAR and Ole Miss football fans. So thank you for following Chad. as well as Tim Brock at I Am a Racing Fan. I am amazed that you were able to get that Twitter handle. I Am a Racing Fan. I like that. Retired Dale Jr. fan. Love to hear who he's talking to and listening to and enjoying at this point. Tim, thank you for joining us and being part of the PTM Posse. Sherwin, have you found it?
Yes. The question that I most wanted to ask is from Mick Rose. Go Ducks 42 _ Mick. Would you like to see the Choose Cone at Martinsville?
Ooh.
My answer is a resounding yes.
Yes.
And for those who are listening or watching and don't know what the Choose Cone is, the Choose Cone is when each row gets to decide whether they want to restart on the low side or the high side. And I think that would be a fantastic institution for a track like Martinsville.
Yeah. Do they use that in other series at Martinsville, Brooks?
We use the cone rule at in the late model race.
Okay,
And,
I thought so.
I think it could certainly make for some interesting strategy to use it at Martinsville. It puts it in the driver's hands. Do you want track position or do you want the inside line? And I think it could make for some interesting strategy. I don't think what we have is necessarily flawed at all. But if they decided they were going to bring it in, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's criticism of what we have right now, especially in Cup. Because I think people can make both lines work. I just like the concept of the opportunity to choose whether you're starting the inside or the outside, and then you can make decisions about the way you pit, the changes that you make, and how long you spend in the pits, and maybe what your driver style is that would make for perhaps a better race. The only issue I have with it is that we are going to waste at least 3 more laps under caution by instituting the Choose Cone.
Good point, especially since we already used like 8 laps during stage cautions. So
I don't know. They put it out. They line them up single file, and they put it out on the one to go.
Well, it needs to.
Race,
Maybe it needs to come out. The Choose Cone is going to have to be halfway down the back stretch in order for it to be efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So let me. So we used to actually have the cone at the start-finish line, right? Well, when they put the safer barrier in on the outside wall on the front stretch, the gate from the you couldn't get across the track anymore.
Right.
So now we won't even have a physical cone for the late model race.
We don't have it for NASCAR either.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it work. And they do it coming into turn 3.
So let's do this, Sherwin. Let's go ahead and gas it up. Since we're talking Martinsville.
We do need to gas it up.
Go ahead and gas it up. Get it gassed up. Talk about Martinsville and what's going on. There's 2 or 3 questions here that I would love to know from an insider at Martinsville. Brooks, what is going on at the track this weekend that's unique, that's different from what other tracks are doing?
So this weekend, they're racing at Martinsville. No other track's doing that. But
my man.
But some of the great stuff we've got going on. First of all, our ticket prices are competitive with. I think they're the best in all of professional sports. They start at $47. We don't have a ticket above $100.
Oh wow!
So that's unique to Martinsville. As far as grandstand seats, now there are some experiences and stuff that are a little bit more. But so we've got on Saturday evening we'll have FanFest, which is free. We'll have Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, Ryan Freese, Ricky Stenhouse, Bubba Wallace, Paul Menard. They'll all be a part of that, and we'll have games and prizes and DJ out there. Friday is free to everybody all day. for Truck Series practice, Truck Series autograph session, the hauler parade. Youth 17 and under are free on Saturday, and they're only $25 on Sunday. And that's not just for like, all right, you're sitting in row 3 in turn 2. That's any seat. So if you if you're a parent and you want to bring your kid out and you really like sitting up high at the start finish line, you're gonna pay $25 for your kid to sit next to you. And then some of the things that are really unique about Martinsville, outside of the hot dogs and the grandfather clock, you can see pit road, at least part of pit road, from every seat that we have, and just about every seat you can see the entire track. So that's something, you're right on top of the action. Victory Lane is on the front stretch. People come down to the fence at the end of the race, and you can hear them cheering and cheering for and against the race winner. And the drivers hear it, and they'll point and yell back at the fans, good to see you and stuff like that. So it's just a really intimate setting that you're on top of the action. You can feel it. You're not far away. You can see everything around, and there's action on every lap. It may not be for the lead, but the leader can't get 11 seconds ahead at Martinsville because the lap's only 14 seconds, 15 seconds. So there's always somebody beating and banging with somebody for position, and that's the stuff you can't get anywhere. And then it's the history of Martinsville. It's the only track from the original schedule. It's the Wrigley Field, the Fenway Park, the Lambeau Field of NASCAR. When you go, you're going to something that has largely remained unchanged from the day it was built, other than being paved in '55. Same track, same layout, same banking, same straightaways. So that's that's part of the uniqueness of Martinsville.
If you aren't pumped up now, what do you have? What have I got for you? I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, well, our friend Mindless Homers, who's a big-time baseball fan but also is interested in NASCAR as well, was like, man, should I go? And we talked about this earlier at the top of the show, and I was like, you got to go. You got to go. Go to the trucks. Yeah. Man, it's such a cheap ticket for such a great experience.
Dude, that value, that's the best value I've ever heard. Not a ticket in the stands under over $100. How many times have we paid $150 and not even shown up to the freaking race?
Well, we've done that a couple times, unfortunately. But the tickets that we bought when we sat way up high in turn 2, they were only $59.
Oh my gosh!
And I remember telling you, like, what the hell is it? Is this are we?
Yeah.
I mean, and the seats that we bought for that the truck race, on the Saturday, we get to go down on the track, like. We got to walk around the track. Look around.
Yeah. I still got the pictures on my phone from that weekend. And there's only a few, because once you've had a phone for 10 years, or you've had that account for 10 years, you can only keep so many pictures.
Yeah.
And so I've got like one of some crazy hike that I did, and then one of that. One of them's just the front stretch at Martinsville. I got down real low. So yeah, real.
Yeah, this ain't like 5%.
Yeah. So just got a note from our friend there who says that he has oops.
Well, so what I want to tell you is there's two tracks that need to be on your bucket list if you haven't, because TV just doesn't do them justice. And it's Bristol and Martinsville. And I don't care what order you go to in, whatever order is best suited for you. They're wildly different short tracks because of speed and banking, but they are monuments of NASCAR lore for different reasons, both of them. And those tracks need to move up your list until you've accomplished them in terms of, getting there.
Yeah.
And it sounds like did we lose somebody, or are we just two of us, or
it's the two of us right now.
Mouth? All right, well, I will answer.
No. So
Andrew
wait.
Cansian's...
No, before you do. So Brooks said he accidentally hit the wrong button there. So we're gonna bring him right back on right now. There's
cool.
Am I back?
What's up, Brooks?
So
our bad.
So I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, my phone started making a weird noise, and I looked, and I was FaceTiming John Wood from the Wood Brothers.
That's fun.
Anyway,
Well, you can tell John what to call us. He got all frustrated with us the time we had him on. He's like the only guy we've ever had on that was like, nah, I don't think I want to do it anymore.
No, he's a good guy. It was fun.
It was good.
So with that, let's do this. We're going to start closing this thing down. We know we need to do some picks here at Martinsville. Here's Junior to give us that command. So, yeah, we got to do picks. Sherwin, last week, Holly picked Truex, and then she also gave like the, I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy's up there somewhere. So Truex finished 8th, Jimmy 17th. I don't know if, you take the average of those at 12.5 or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, she ain't here.
You know what? I'm going to take the average of those since she mentioned 2 people at 12.5 because my pick finished 12th, which means I got to be I got to win that one.
Well, I finished second, so you get to go first either way.
Rusty, I picked Larson at 12th, and once again, we're now at 5 races with 2 Chevys in the top 5, both of them Kurt. And Sherwin, yeah, you picked Logano last week. You don't quite get the horn this week, but he got second place. So that means whatever freaking rule that we've made and change every week.
Actually, we don't change it every week. You just don't remember every week, which is funny because I'm usually the one that doesn't remember.
Everything you just said is fair. But we do let our guests go ahead and make the first pick. Brooks, who have you got for the Cup race this weekend?
Ooh, let's see. Fords have won 3 of the last 4.
Mm-hmm.
Penske has won 2 of the last 4.
Yeah.
Ryan Blaney has run up front in all of the last 4.
Don't you do it.
Take it. Take it.
I'm going with Denny Hamlin.
Actually, that's fine.
No, it's all good. Boy, it's
the Chester, Virginia kid.
Right. So what'd you say? I go first this time? Or
you go?
Okay.
Yeah.
Between us.
I did better than you, so you go first.
Yeah. Because I got to keep remembering. We said along or several episodes ago, it's not a make it, take it.
Correct. It's not make it, take it.
Yeah, that lets you figure it out. I need a good run here. Like I need a good run, but there's so many good names here. Here's the problem is that it's real tough for me not to go on the Kyle Busch train and just he's going to finish good, right? Like he's not going to be 17th or something. He's on this.
He's gonna have a top 10,
right?
Minimum.
So who you gonna pick?
Lead laps.
This is kind of like picking Kentucky a few years ago in the NCAA championship. Kentucky versus Field. Who are you gonna pick? And it's like I'm probably gonna pick Kentucky. Or
20 on
Duke
Kentucky
3 years ago or whatever.
Or Duke this year.
Or Duke this year. No kidding. So it's almost like a person versus a field, and if you take the field, who are you going to pick from that field in this one? Anyway, point is, I've got to do something here, and which means I can't go speculating on a Chevy until Chevy shows me something. I'm not speculating. I'm not. You
ain't trying to find that gold that ain't there.
Chase has done well here before, but come on, y'all. There's how many people are done better? So. Anyway, I've done all this to say I'm picking Clint Boyer. So there you go. I'm done.
I now have to change my pick.
Hey, it's no make it take
it. I'm glad because it's going to force this conversation to get more fun. I am going to dig for gold.
Ooh, okay.
Well, I don't know. Am I going to dig for gold?
I really. So here's the problem. I want you to pick Kyle Busch so that there's that's almost the monkey throwing the dart thing. Like, are you better at picking than the guy who probably ought to win?
No. So I'm going to throw the dart in a very different direction, but
it is
oddly similar. I'm going to go with Kurt Busch and the number 1.
I love that pick all day long, twice on Sunday, and this will be a Sunday. So That's of course he's going to run good. He's been running good, and he's the best wheelman. We're at a wheelman place where we're doing wheelman things.
Right.
So, what are you going to say? With that is us closing it down. Brooks, we want to thank you for being on and hanging out with two idiots for the last.
Did we do all the stuff we were supposed to do? I think we did. We definitely went 25 minutes long. Or
no,
we didn't start till 10 after.
It's not that far.
We had a little bit of digital communication issue on the front end.
But Brooks, why don't you go ahead and close us out? Give everybody the scoop on where to follow you, where to follow Martinsville, and what's going on, and how to get into what you're doing.
MartinsvilleSpeedway.com, at Martinsville SWY on the Twitter. I believe it's just Martinsville Speedway on Instagram, and Martinsville Speedway on Facebook. All verified accounts, no imposters. And then I'm just Brooks_Taylor. I'm a boring fellow. I think I'm funnier than I am. And tickets are on sale, 877 Race Ticks or MartinsvilleSpeedway.com, and I can tell you guys that I know weather's been an issue in the past. We are looking at 60 degrees and 0% chance of precipitation throughout the weekend. Sunny skies. It's going to be a great day to be out at the racetrack. Great weekend to be out at the racetrack, and looking forward to a great weekend. One last thing I'll say about Kurt Busch. You talk about him being a wheelman. Don't forget, when he drove that 51 car for Phoenix Racing.
Yep.
We were talking about this today in the car riding around. Because he came up and talking about how good he is. He finished second at Sonoma with a broken track bar.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Yep. I remember that very well.
With the broken track bar, he finished second at a road course.
Yeah, that's
the only reason why he didn't win.
Right. That's a mic drop moment.
In a garbage car.
In a garbage car with a garbage problem, he finishes second at a wheelman place. I think you're right on with that. That's why it took us forever.
And he
to
has
respond.
a pretty recent win at Martinsville in the 41. So
right.
It's going to be a fun weekend. Y'all go buy tickets, man. I promise you, if you're listening to this right now and you're within driving distance of Martinsville, go buy a ticket. This is one of the coolest places you will ever visit.
It's unreal.
And here's something else that I'll say too. Everybody's clamoring for more short tracks. We need more short tracks. Well, if you've got a bicycle and you don't ride it, right? And you tell your parents you want a bicycle for Christmas, they're like, well, you're not using the one you've got. So if you want more short tracks on the schedule, you got to support the short tracks we have.
My man.
There's no more important truth spoken than that, and that means y'all go get your butts in the seats.
Yeah.
We all know this is the coolest racetrack in NASCAR for old school racing fans.
So with that, let's close it out. Sherwin, everybody knows where to find us. PTMpodcast.com, at PTM Podcast on the Twitter handle. Hey, next week's going to be something special, y'all. It's going to be something different. Something completely different. Something we have never done before. It's going to be something completely off the wall.
Well, lucky for all of you, you won't have to hear me. I will be on a business trip and therefore out of pocket. Rusty's going to do some fun things.
Right.
And then
something we've never done before is Sherwin not being on the show. So
right, it may end up being a better show, y'all.
The show must go on. It will be, it'll be irreverent is the word. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely be sure to tune in because I want there to be like 4,000 downloads on that just to piss off Sherman. No.
Yeah. Y'all go definitely listen to that thing because without me, this is definitely going to be a better show. I promise you that.
Y'all know where to find me, Rusty Wallace, at Tailgate Mayor.
And Andrew Sherwin, at Pregame Engineer, and at Andrew L. Sherwin on the Instagram.
And one of us will talk to y'all next week. Thanks for sticking around. See ya. Woo-woo!
Let it rip, Sydney.
And the recording is complete. We still got you, Brooks?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Brooks, we are still live on the YouTube. Our YouTube folks are still listening in for the little bit of post-show here, but the recorded portion that we're going to put on iTunes and all that is complete. Man, really appreciate you being on. This is a boatload of fun for us, and I know you've got to be up soon, so let's not hold you too long, but just wanted to, before we let you go, just sing your praises and thank you for everything.
Well, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm glad to do it, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. We'll be in touch, and let's figure out, doing something, maybe mid-year Sherwin or something like that, something where he's not so having to be up in, I won't say the number of hours at this point, but
yeah,
we'll do it that way.
Right.
At worst timing scenario, sometime before Martinsville in fall, because obviously that race has a lot of meaning for the schedule. But
and for the sport, just all around.
I mean, it's a huge deal. But I wouldn't want to pack it in then. I'd like to get you back before that, if we can. So, anyhow, I'll be in touch for sure.
Awesome. Well, man, appreciate you being on, and we'll let you roll. Hey, good luck tomorrow with the old boss man hanging out up in. Where'd you say you're heading tomorrow early?
We're headed to Greensboro.
Yeah, Greensboro.
So it'll be a good time.
Awesome. All right, man, get you some sleep and say hey to the fam for us.
For sure.
Will do.
All right, take care, brother. Appreciate you being on. See you.
Hot dog.
Hot dog. Oh, there we go. Y'all? That was fun.
That was good.
There was multiple points of laughter. Let's be sure. Help me remember. Let's talk about Cancian's question next week. We were just going, and I know.
We went way long.
Well, I mean, not way long. I mean, it's 10:30, and he has to be up at 5, y'all. Like, I'm just. I don't know. Or maybe he has to be where he needs to be at 5. It's ridiculous how little amount of rest he's getting right now. And Sherwin said it best. I've told my boss at my career I'm not doing that. That was hilarious. So good for him. Anyway, let's see. Another good one. Thank you, Beast. You're the best. And he's 4 shiners in. My man. Boy, so Sherwin was the first one. Sherwin, I think you were the first time I'd ever had Shinerbach. I think we were roommates.
That's good beer.
We were roommates at the time, and you rolled up, and you were like, "Boom, we're drinking Shiner tonight." And I'm like, "What is Shiner?" Just drink this. I took a sip, and I went, "Ha ha ha ha!" Like,
it's like Texas's version of Nuked Asshole.
Yeah. I was about to
real
compare.
Damn good.
I was about to compare it to Newcastle. I am totally in on that. So I was gonna do a segment because I didn't know. Whenever you have a new guest, y'all, you don't know if that guest is gonna answer you in like 2-word answers or 2.5 minute
25
answers.
minutes.
Right. Or anything in between. So I'm writing
Brooks
down
was good. He was like, he was like around
Yeah.
about 5 minutes per response.
Yeah, it's all good. No, it's perfect. But one of the things I was going to bring up is penalties. Because me and Sherwin were texting earlier this week, and I said, and during the race, I think we only texted like twice because I think you were out doing something, I was out doing something, but we were both watching the race. And you had texted me, penalty Hamlin, speeding. And I said, I would say it's sad, except it's not. It's funny every time he speeds. Every time he speeds, it's funny.
It was a good text.
I
didn't know. So you fly a lot. So I usually don't.
Oh, no, I was here the whole time though. I watched the whole race.
No, I'm not
home.
accusing you of anything. I'm just saying, like,
not sure when.
I don't know
in,
if
out,
you're
DVR, whatever.
Yeah. So I don't want to like. I only want to text something that like I know wouldn't fuck your race up if like you were watching on TV
So
or
something
on DVR.
Like, So something like Denny Hamlin speeds is not
like, hilarious.
Enough. Yes, that's not a spoiler enough for me to be mad at. That is always funny. But that's what I told Sharon. I said it would be sad, except it's always funny that he speeds. So it got me thinking of cheating, right? Got me thinking into the cheating category. Because, by the way, he also got a $10,000 penalty for loose lug. He didn't get it as crew chief.
Was it this week or last week that he got?
That was this week.
Oh, he
that
did
was
that
yeah,
too.
yeah. It was just pile it on. Just while we're here, just keep shoveling the dirt, right? So it got me thinking of cheating. And so I looked up, and somebody, let me give him props here. RacingNews.co, Shane Walters. He put together all the fines. So this isn't like cheating on track necessarily. These are all the fines. These are all the like L1, L2, all that stuff.
Oh, the little guys.
Throughout the year in 2018.
Didn't somebody get a Thunder Cheater one? Anyway, keep going.
So last year, there was $890,000 worth of penalties that were given out, okay? The guy in first place, most penalty dollars, was $145,000 over the course of the year.
Was that Denny Hamlin?
Second was $105,000. $145,000 first, $105,000 second, $100,000 third, and then $75,000 fourth. And to round out the top five, $70,000. Past that, it goes $55,000. So in other words,
what you're saying is almost 50% of the total fines were occupied by five teams.
4 to 5 people. Yeah. Four people definitely had 50%. 4 people had 50% of them. Now here's the crazy part. After all that, Hamlin was $45,000. He was in ninth. He wasn't even, all his cheating is done on track.
Right?
Speeds, right?
Oh yeah, that's not. It didn't cost money. It just cost track position.
Right.
Yeah.
So take a guess at who. And again, number one was $145,000. Number two was $105,000. There's a $40,000 difference. In other words, there was a
36%.
Austin Dillon worth of difference because Austin Dillon was $35,000 over the course of the year. So there was a huge difference between 1 and 2.
I'm gonna guess Truex was top receiver.
So I'll give you Truex was $20,000.
So I missed that by
a
shitload.
Yeah. So I'll say this. There's a reason that lap traffic really enjoys, watching this person because he's a cheater.
Harvick,
$145,000.
Jesus fucking cheater, dude. Sorry for the F words, y'all. They're still on YouTube.
Think about that.
Good God,
one
that's
out
ridiculous.
Of every. Okay, wait a second. I'm gonna put this in the calculator right quick.
We need to call Brandon and cuss him out.
145 over 890. He had 16.3% of all fines last year.
That's not even acceptable.
That's hilarious. Kyle Larson second at $105,000. Here's what blew my mind, by the way. Chase Elliott had $100,000 in fines last year. Now, that said...
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I better shut the bleep up.
Well, that said, who's his crew chief? Gustafson.
Alan Gustafson.
Yeah.
Who does cheat.
So you gotta kind of...
All right. I'll settle the bleep down on Harvick.
Now, here's the crazy thing for me, and the reason
Gustafson never cheated as much as Knaus, though.
Well, here's the crazy thing, and maybe this is why the whole relationship between Jimmy Knaus and you know how much Knaus had last year?
0.
Goose egg. Yep, donkey balls. 0.0. Had 0 infractions last year. In 2008 or 2009. Oh shoot! Yeah. Chad Knaus was just he was writing checks before he was writing blank checks before the race even started.
Jimmy Johnson won 2 Daytona 500s without his crew chief. Or whatever that.
Right.
I mean, he at least won.
Right.
I know he won like 4 races without his crew chief.
Oh, I love this. What Sarah just said. The penalty money should go to the team just right behind you in points. I love that. That's
only if they
funny.
pass. I mean, remember Rogan talking about the freaking the French. What is that? The bicycle deal.
Yeah. Oh,
he's like the first 18 people pissed hot. So you gonna give the gold medal to the 19th guy,
right.
or are you just gonna go? All right, it's a wash.
Talking about Tour de France.
Tour de France. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about here?
So, y'all, That was one of the topics that we did not cover, but I didn't think would be something that we could probably talk
Every
about
now and
next
again, that'll happen, though.
That-
This is what the value of the YouTube is, y'all.
Yeah,
We can, like, super goof off.
yeah.
Because y'all know we already goofed the bleep off during the recording.
I mean, this is what me and Sherman talk about as we're
Like, we're
hanging
going to
out
shut this
afterwards, too.
off, and then this conversation is going to continue at its exact pace. Its exact. Actually, the language is probably going to get worse.
It's the reason we started this this whole podcast, man. It's the reason we did this. With that, I do need to shut it down because I do need to start doing all my
Woo!
let's see, we
Redneck
gotta go to
noise.
Podbean. We got to go PTMpodcast.com and put in the super duper administrator password on there so I can.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, so I can upload everything, and so the people can get it in their ear holes. Thank you, YouTubers, for hanging out and having some fun with us.
We really appreciate
awesome.
y'all tuning in live. That's pretty cool, man. It's to do this thing like we're a TV show in some retrospect is very cool. I don't know we tell y'all enough how cool we think that is.
And how cool
but
y'all
it
are.
certainly is.
How cool y'all are. PTM Posse, you're the best. We'll talk to y'all next time. See you later.